Welcome to second year biology, chapter 1, homeostasis. Homeostasis is comprising of two words. Homeo means same and stasis means to stay, and it literally means to stay at the same. So here comes the definition that it is a set of regulatory mechanisms which are involved in maintaining organisms' internal environment within the suitable limit. Let's explain this. If you eat a high carbohydrate meal, it will raise the blood glucose level in your body because carbohydrate is sugar. So to normalize this level, pancreas is a gland that releases insulin which normalizes the blood glucose level by storing it in liver. So in this context, in this example, insulin is a regulatory mechanism which is maintaining the organism's internal environment, that is the blood glucose level within the suitable limit. And here the suitable limit is normal blood glucose. Remember, the normal blood glucose in human body is about 80 to 100 milligram per deciliter. This is the concept of homeostasis. These are the types of homeostasis, or we can say that these are the aspects of homeostasis. The first is osmoregulation, the second is thermoregulation, and the third is excretion. And each of these we will discuss later in detail. But before discussing these topics, there is an important concept of the feedback. The concept of feedback is the check and balance system of the body, and this check and balance system is regulated by its types. The first is negative feedback and the second is positive feedback. The first is negative feedback. If there is any change in the body and the body regulatory mechanisms decreases that change, it is simply called the negative feedback. That is, the opposite effect produced in the relation to any changes in the body is simply called the negative feedback. And the example we have discussed earlier, that when a person takes the sugar, the level of glucose will rise in the blood. It will trigger the mechanism, that is release of insulin from the pancreas, that will decreases the level of glucose back to normal level, and the normal level of glucose in human body is about 80 to 100 milligram per deciliter. Then positive feedback. Positive feedback is if there is any change in the body and the body regulatory mechanisms increases that change or enhance that change, it is called the positive feedback. The example is childbirth. As the birth process begins, hypothalamus, the master gland present in the brain, releases oxytocin that contracts the uterus. Uterus is an organ that is present in the lower abdomen in which the baby is present. So when the uterus contracts to push the baby outside, it sends signals to the hypothalamus to release more oxytocin that result in more and more contractions of the uterus, and this result in birth of a baby. So during labor, a hormone called oxytocin is released that intensifies and speed up contractions, and this result in birth of a baby by a positive feedback mechanism. Osmoregulation is the first and major aspect of homeostasis, and it is defined as the maintenance of water and solute concentrations of a cell. If this is a cell and the fluid present inside the cell is called intracellular fluid, and the fluid present outside the cell, it is called extracellular fluid. And there is relative or different concentrations of solute present in and out of the cell. For example, there is a high concentration of potassium inside the cell, and there is a high concentration of sodium outside the cell. We can say that the cells are the bags of potassium which are floating in an ocean of sodium. So inside the cell potassium, outside the cell sodium. And to keep these concentrations constant, osmoregulation play its role so that the body can work efficiently. This is the simple concept of osmoregulation, that is the maintenance of water and solute concentrations of a cell. The term water potential is a major term, and it constantly used in osmoregulation and as well as in excretion, and is called the potential energy of water molecules. Let's explain this. Suppose this is a container, and in this container it is there are two compartments separated by the semi-permeable membrane. On the left side there is a high concentration of water and low concentration of solutes, and on the right side there is a low concentration of water and high concentration of solute particles. So on the left side this type of solution in which there is a low solute concentration and a high water quantity as compared to the surrounding, this type of solution is called hypotonic solution. Hypotonic solutions. And on the right side, the solute concentration is high and the water content is low as compared to the left side. This type of solution is called hypertonic solution. So on the left side there is a high concentration of solute, so the potential energy of water molecules is higher on the left side than the right side, so that the net movement of water is from the left to right, or we can say that there is a net movement of water from hypotonic solution to hypertonic solution. Remember the rule that the water will always move from the hypotonic solution towards the hypertonic solution. So come back and see this, that the potential energy of water molecules is called the water potential, or we can say that the capacity of living system to lose water. As the left side is losing water towards the right side, so we can define the water potential as the capacity of a living system to lose water. For animals, water potential is termed as osmotic pressure, and for plants, water potential of cell sap is called the solute potential. Tonicity is the relative concentration of solutes dissolved in a solution, which determine the direction and extent of diffusion. In this figure, we have seen that there is a relative concentration of solutions present in these two compartments, the hypotonic solutions and the hypertonic solution, and these two types of relative concentrations will determine the extent of diffusion, that is the movement of water molecules from the left compartment towards the right compartment. This is the concept of tonicity. And on the basis of tonicity, there are three types of solutions: the hypertonic solution, the hypotonic solution, and the isotonic solution. The first is hypertonic solution. We have discussed earlier, and here is the definition. A hypertonic solution is one in which the concentration of solutes is greater outside the cell than inside it. If this is a cell and relative to this cell there is a high concentration of solute present outside the cell, then the outer solution is called hypertonic solution as compared to the cell solution. Then hypotonic solution, the definition is that the hypotonic solution is one in which the concentration of solutes is greater inside the cell than outside of it. Again, if this is a cell and there is a high concentration of solute inside the cell than the surrounding, so the surrounding solution is called the hypotonic solution and the cell solution is called hypertonic solution. And one point I would like to highlight here is that remember the rule that the water will always move from the hypotonic solutions towards the hypertonic solution. So the water moves inside the cell, and as the water moves inside the cell will become bigger and bigger, and eventually it will burst if this is an animal cell, because animal cells has no cell wall which is rigid and prevent the cells from bursting. So in this situation we can say that if the animal cell is placed in a hypotonic solution, it will burst because it has no cell wall, but the plant cell will not burst because it has a rigid cell wall present outside the cell. The third type of solution is isotonic solution, in which the solution having the same water potential as that of a cell. This results in no osmosis, and this type of solution is simply called isotonic solution. Plasmolysis is the phenomena in which when a cell is placed in hypertonic solution, so the water will move from the cell to outside, from the hypotonic solution towards the hypertonic solution, and this results in the shrinkage of a cell. This phenomenon is called plasmolysis. The definition is that when a cell is placed in hypertonic solution, this results in exosmosis and shrinkage of cytoplasmic cell membrane from its cell wall, and this phenomenon is simply called plasmolysis. Deplasmolysis is that when a plasmolyzed cell is placed in a hypotonic solution. When a plasmolysed cell, that is a shrinkage cell, is placed in a hypotonic solution, this results in endoosmosis. That is, the water will move from the surrounding inside the cell, and the cytoplasm will expand again, and this phenomenon is called deplasmolysis. Summarizing the three types of solutions, the first is hypertonic, and if the cells are placed in hypertonic solutions, there is movement of water out of the cells, so the cells becomes flaccid. In hypotonic solutions, if the cells are placed in hypotonic solution, there is movement of water inside the cells and the cells becomes turgid. And if this is the animal cell, the cell will burst. In isotonic solutions, the third type of solution, there is the amount of water entering the cell is the same amount of water leaving the cell, so there is no net movement of water in and out of the cells. There is a question that in which direction the water will move, and there are two cells present here. The first cell is here and the second cell is here. In the first cell, the water potential is about minus 200 kilopascals, and in the second cell the water potential is about minus 400 kilopascals. And the question is that in which direction the water will move, from the first cell to the second cell or the second cell to the first cell, as they have different water potentials. Before answering this question, there are some important points to highlight here. This is water potential. This is a sign called psi, used for the water potential, and the pure water has zero water potential. The pure water has zero water potential. If this is the beaker and this beaker has pure water, so we can say that the water has zero water potential, and if we add the salt in the beaker, the water potential becomes negative, let's say minus 10. If we add the salt again, the water potential becomes minus 20. Adding again, the water potential becomes minus 100, and so on. The point is that the maximum water potential is 0, and if we add the solute molecules, it will become negative, like minus 10, minus 50, minus 60, and so on. And the important point is that the water potential will never become positive, because the maximum water potential is 0. So if this is the first cell and this is the second cell, and we can see that the second cell has more negative water potential as compared to the cell 1, which has much less negative water potential as compared to the cell 2. So the cell 2 has more solutes than cell 1. So we can say that the cell 2 is hypertonic and the cell 1 is hypotonic. And as the water moves from the hypotonic solutions towards the hypertonic solution, so the water will move from the cell 1 to cell 2. This concludes our section here.